tuning in. We are going to go ahead and get started. First of all, thank you all so much for coming to College Night this year. This is an awesome turnout, and unfortunately we did run out of handouts, but they will all be posted on the website. And if you have any questions, you can of course have the student come and see their counselor, because we'll have all these handouts in our office as well. So first of all, I am Sarah Macco. I am one of the new counselors here at Yorkville, and to my left is Sarah Pottinger, and in the back is Janine Passetti. We're the three counselors here at the main campus, and then Ann Kuntz is the counselor over at the Freshman Academy. Tonight, joining us, we also have Erica Iniguez from Waubonsie Community College and Shauna Armstrong from Aurora University, and they'll be speaking at the end of this presentation a little bit later. We'll do a quick question and answer at the end of this after we go through some slides. So I know it's a little warm, I know it's getting late, so I will make this as painless as possible. All right, so first of all, just to go over some of the things you received if you were lucky enough to get one of the handouts. I included the copy of this PowerPoint just so you can take notes, you can take it home. I'm going to be throwing a lot of information at you, so that's why I also wanted you to have it to take home as well. We also dispersed the Counselor Corner, which is kind of a condensed version of all of our important dates, things coming up, information about career cruising that I'm going to be talking about later, which is something that we use for the college and career search here at school, and then some important ACT prep information on the back as well. Also included is a timeline. It starts like the middle of junior year and goes on to senior year, talks about what the student should be doing each month during the college planning process. So it's kind of a nice way to step back and say, okay, what should I be worrying about right now? On the back, there are also some definitions and some important websites that you'll find really helpful in the college process. Two other things that we gave out were these two books, State Universities in Illinois at a Glance and The 12 Reasons to Stay in Illinois. These are really great condensed versions of all state schools. So if you want to know, what all the state schools, what ACT scores they require, all that information is in one place, so it's really nice. Also some information about the pink sheet is if a child has any special needs on campus, and the green sheet talks about which schools are known to give out a lot of need and merit-based aid. So take a look at that if you're interested. Also information about NCAA requirements and some ACT prep stuff. So like I said, if you didn't get a handout, we'll make more copies. It'll be on the website, and feel free to come into the guidance office to get some copies, okay? Any questions so far? All right, let me know if I'm talking too fast, because I tend to get going. Okay, so for the student, the most important thing about this whole process that we try to start sophomore year is to know yourself and what's important to you. We want to know, what your skills are, your likes, your abilities, what you don't like, what your goals, what your values are. All these things are going to play into which school you end up going to, where you go, what you want to do. All this stuff should be what drives that. We also want to talk about your high school courses and your performance in those courses. Is that the best of your ability? Are you trying as hard as you can? Does it really reflect what you're capable of? Also want to talk about activities and interests, what you're passionate about. Do you show leadership? What motivates you as a student? Because that's going to come into play depending on where you want to go to school. And then also just your personality, the relationships that you have at school, educational preferences, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so the whole process starts junior year. Seniors, don't worry, you still have time. But for junior year, you want to be keeping in mind that you're checking your credits, you're talking to your counselors, you want to try as hard as you can in your classes. I know your parents tell you this, and parents, I know you tell this to your students, but it's really true. The best evaluator that you have when it comes to applying for colleges is going to be your transcript. So how well you're doing in your classes, if you're getting better over the 4 years, all of that stuff is something that colleges really look at, because it's a really good snapshot of your potential, what kind of classes you like, what motivates you, things like that. I also suggest that you get to know your teachers, because they're the people that are going to be vouching for you. And they're the people that are going to be writing letters of recommendation. So maybe participating in class a little bit more, maybe staying after to get some extra help. Those are going to be the teachers that are going to be able to speak to your ability and to really want to write letters of recommendation for you. And also getting involved and taking on leadership roles. Getting involved in different clubs, that's also one of the handouts. All the different activities we offer here at school. When a college is looking at you as a student, they want to see that you're well-rounded, that you're balanced, and that you're not afraid to take on a challenge. That you're passionate about something. They want to see what makes you stand out. Financial aid. Everyone is asking questions about financial aid. I do want to preface by saying that don't let cost eliminate some of your choices, okay? Because there really are a lot of ways to work within budget. First of all, we do have a financial aid night, January 28th, 2013. So make sure you put that on the calendar. And that's for juniors and seniors, I believe? Okay. Yeah, I say the more information, the better, because it can be a confusing process. Also, we do have a scholarship bulletin board outside of guidance, and Diane Wallen, who's our registrar, is in charge of coordinating all scholarships. So if you do have a question about scholarships, talk to her. Keep checking the board, because we're constantly posting new ones. So I would say, when it comes to scholarships, research, research, research. There's a ton out there that you might not even know about. Research, need-based aid, merit-based aid. Some schools will give you money just based on your GPA and your ACT score. So the more research you do, and yes, that's hard work, but the more money you could potentially get. There are also things like application fees and waivers if those are something you qualify for. And then, I don't know, has anybody in here heard the term FAFSA and not had any idea what it was? No? Okay, well, FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid, and that's something that you're going to fill out in January. And when you fill that out, just make sure you have your tax information next to you, because that'll be how the government determines how much aid to give you, okay? And then that website, make sure you go to fafsa.gov, not .com, because .com will charge you. In addition, you can also check out the CSF profile on collegeboard.com. College Board is a really good website just to check out anyway. They have a lot of great resources and a lot of great information. And like I said, research both need-based and merit-based scholarships. And there's what's called a financial aid estimator on that website right there. And you can also talk to specific colleges about what kind of aid they offer. I would strongly suggest, as you're talking to colleges and narrowing down that list, talk to the financial aid office at all of those schools and say, you know, what kind of scholarships do you offer? And I mean, the more questions you ask about it, the more potential aid you could receive. But we'll go into a lot more of this the financial aid night later in January, because you can't fill out the FAFSA until January anyway. Okay, any questions so far? Am I going too fast? Okay. Oh yeah, guys, there's plenty of seats if you want to come around and fill in. Or if anybody wants to scoot to the middle to make room for other people, I think that would be appreciated. Okay, we're going to keep on rolling here. Oh, where? Yes?
I did have one question. When is the actual financial aid forms due by? What's the latest you can actually fill that information out?
When you say financial aid forms, what are you
Well, the financial aid you're referring to, the was it the federal
like when
government?
is the FAFSA due?
Yeah, well, I thought the forms were due like January 1st or something. Is that not correct?
January 1st is the first day you're able to fill them out, I believe. Okay. So once, yeah, you do have to wait until you get your income tax information back. Okay. So when you fill it out, it'll seem a little confusing, but that's why it's important to have your tax document right next to you, and that makes it a lot easier.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and when you come to the financial aid night on January 28th, we'll go through that specifically in a lot more detail. Okay? So this is just talking about some of the different types of colleges that are out there. When we say college, we're not just talking about four-year university. There's a lot of different options for people out there. You know, universities, liberal arts colleges, women's colleges, colleges with, you know, a specific target, technical institutes, fine arts schools. There's a whole gamut. So when you think college, don't just think, you know, four-year university or, you know, Big Ten. There's a lot of different varieties that can fit many different personalities. Okay, college entrance tests, ACT, SAT. We'll go into a little bit of detail about each of these, but you do have the handouts that talk about the dates and the prep classes, so we'll kind of whiz through this. This is just a summary of the ACT dates. We do offer the ACT here in April, and I believe we're a test center here on the 27th of October as well. I'm sorry? Yeah, well, there's another. We're hosting the, on October 17th, we're also hosting the PSAT. Yes. So, like I said, we're going to be hosting in April as well, but we do host the ACT without the writing portion. So if you're talking to schools that specifically require the writing portion, then make sure you sign up for an additional ACT on like a Saturday, because we will not offer that, okay? And that just depends on if certain schools require it or not. So I would look at your list and double check, but I would take it just in case. I would suggest taking the ACT more than once anyway, just to see the best score you can possibly get. Okay, like I said, we are hosting on the 27th, PSAT on the 17th, and a lot of students ask me like what they can do to prepare for the ACT and when they should take it. Based on school's curriculum, they're prepared for the April test of their junior year. So I don't normally recommend taking it too much earlier than that. If they're on an advanced curriculum, then they could potentially take it in February. But the test is normed for curriculum up to spring of junior year. So if you want to take it again after that, if you want to take an additional test senior year to improve your score, that's totally fine as well. But the curriculum is going to be what prepares students the best for the ACT. SAT, the Midwest, not as popular if you're looking at schools on the coast or a school that specifically requires it. These are some of the dates. This code at the bottom, a lot of different websites and things like that are going to ask you for that code, our ACT code, CEEB code, 144505. It's all over this paperwork, so just remember that when they ask you for it. Just some important deadlines for different schools here in Illinois, some of the more popular ones. University of Illinois, November 1st, and Illinois State and Northern are November 15th. Those are the deadlines for the early action, which just means the sooner you get in your application, they'll let you know a little bit sooner. It's not binding, that's early decision, that's a whole separate thing. That's not something we recommend very often. That's once you apply to a school and you actually get in, you are bound to go there. It's a contractual agreement. But early action is not binding, it's just the sooner you get in your application, the sooner you find out the results. Okay? Talking in regards to what colleges look for in a student, like I was talking about before, they're really going to be looking at your transcript as the main thing. It shows, how you trended as a student. Did your grades go up through the 4 years? Did they go down? It's going to show what kind of classes you had interest in, and all that kind of stuff is really important to schools. They want to see a really well-balanced student. It's not the student that has the highest ACT or the highest GPA, but the student that's the most well-rounded. So they are going to look at things like test scores, the personal essays that they write, different activities, leadership, sports, all that kind of stuff. But schools really want to see that upward trend in your classes and throughout the 4 years of high school. They don't want to see, senior year, all of a sudden you're taking all easy classes and your grades drop, because then they're going to think that that's going to continue. So try to definitely challenge yourself all 4 years. Some college criteria for you to think about. What's important to you in a school? And these are all things that, with the program that we're going to be using a little bit more called career cruising, these are different things that we will go through, and you can kind of select your preferences, and we'll generate a list of schools based on those preferences. Okay, so be thinking about things like geographic location, size of the school, environment. Do you want to be in the city? Do you want to be out in the country? The surrounding community, what's that like? The social atmosphere of the school, does it have like a big Greek life? Is it more of like a liberal arts school that has a lot of theater and art and dance? What's the student body like? Is there a lot of diversity? Do they offer study abroad? There's all different kinds of factors. And that's one good thing about the career cruising program that I'm talking about, because you can kind of go through all those factors and narrow them down and create a list that's specific for you. Some other things, if you want to look into schools that have research opportunities, check the school's reputation. the cost, financial aid, all that kind of stuff. Just make sure you're looking at the big picture of all the schools that you're considering. This is information about career cruising, like I mentioned. The username is Yorkville and the password is high school. This is something that you can log onto at home and do college and career searches on your own. But we're going to be going through this with students, showing them how doing what's called the career matchmaker to generate a list of different jobs and careers that they might be interested in. And then it connects them to schools that offer those programs. So it's a really awesome program. It doesn't look like the internet's working. But you can take this information and log on from home. And like I said, we'll be doing it with our students as well. We really want to encourage students to think outside the box when it comes to college. Don't just apply to the schools that you've heard of or the big schools in Illinois, but think about schools that really might be a good fit for you. And that doesn't mean that they're in state, doesn't mean that they're out of state. Just make sure that you're really thinking of new and different places. I applied to 3 schools that I had heard of. And there's so many more resources out there today to find a school that's really going to be a good fit for you. Make sure you're paying attention to the requirements of each school. It's really good to have big dreams, but you also need to be realistic. There's a lot of information out there as far as what criteria you can fit in and admissions requirements, so make sure that you're paying attention to that as you're applying to schools. We like to have a good balance. Some schools that you want to apply to, you want to make sure you can get in. Those are those clear admits, some of the backup schools that you know that you can fall back on. And then some other schools, that are a bit of a reach, some that, you're not sure, and then some that might be a little bit more difficult to get into, but you want to have a good balance of all different kinds. Okay, students, this is what you should pay attention to. The whole process should be starting your junior year, and like I said, seniors, it's okay because you still have time, but meeting with your counselor is going to be really important. Keeping that communication open, that's something then, we can help write letters of recommendation as well if we get to know you and things like that. So we can kind of help guide you through this really overwhelming process. Research is probably going to be the best thing you can do. Check out all the different schools' websites. That's where the most information is going to be offered. Talk to different admissions reps. Visit schools. They're going to be able to answer your questions the best. Then you'll be able to see if you can really picture yourself at that school. And if you can't visit, like I said, talk to the admissions reps. They have a wealth of information and they're very willing to help. So the websites can seem a little overwhelming. If you can't find what you're looking for, click on Contact Us on any of the websites and you'll be able to send an email to the admissions reps and they'll usually get back to you pretty quick. They're very helpful. All right, when it comes to specific applications, we would say probably between 3 to 5, maybe 8 max, depending. I had a student once who sent out 30 college applications, and that was a little excessive. So these days there are 2 different kinds of applications. There's the common application, which once you fill out that one application online, you can send it to a bunch of different schools that you select. So it's really nice because you can fill it out once and then the internet will shoot it out to a bunch of different schools that you can select from a list. Not all schools are on the common application, so you can still fill out applications and send them directly to schools as well. A lot of them are going online these days, but not necessarily. You can still fill out paper copies and send those in as well. Other things that you might need, they might send you a form that says, give this to your counselor to fill it out. So that's something that you can bring to the guidance office. We'll fill out that information. If they ask for something like a school profile form, that's something that we have. They're also going to ask for the transcript, and that's something you can get from Mrs. Wallen, who's our registrar. And they may or may not ask for things like a personal statement, a resume, letters of recommendation. Every school is going to be a little bit different. But this is going to be that main list where most schools are going to ask you for a combination of this stuff. So a good idea is to get organized and just figure out which school wants what. And that's where the common application is really nice because every school will be listed and then you can send off the main information and then every school might just ask for like an additional, writing sample or something like that to be a little bit specific to their school. Okay? One other thing is that schools no longer, how should I say it? We no longer rank. Colleges may still ask for what the rank is. It's okay not to answer that, because we as a school do not officially rank our students anymore. And that's okay to tell colleges, you can leave it blank, because a lot of schools are going that way these days. Junior year. Spend lots of time thinking about what you want in a college. Try to figure out what it is that you're looking for, what's important to you. Start a list, junior year, of schools that you just want to look into. You know, the more you space it out and separate it, do it step by step, the less overwhelming it's going to be. Just as a side note, make sure you use the same name on all college applications, whatever your legal name is, because otherwise you might have 2 applications for one student, like one, you know, Joe Smith and one Joseph Smith, and they won't know that you're the same person. Like I said before, visiting all kinds of colleges, as many as possible, I think will give you the best idea of what each school has to offer and where you can really see yourself. Making sure you're keeping your grades strong and really, you know, trying through that senior year, because unfortunately I have had some students who, you know, they were doing great all 4 years and then, you know, just kind of slacked off senior year. And some of the schools that they got into took back their offer. They really can do that. So make sure you're trying all through senior year. Like we said, you'll be taking the ACT, SAT junior year. Not necessarily the SAT, just if a school requires it. Attending financial aid night. The college night at Waubonsie Community College was last night, but we will be talking about any other college nights coming up in the future, any other college fairs, where you can then talk to reps from other schools. That's also really helpful. And I suggest asking teachers for letters of recommendation at the end of junior year, because then, you know, they have the summer, they can think about it, they can write the letters, so that when you come back senior year, they'll already be ready to go. In the summer, again, continue to visit colleges. Really kind of determine that final list. Try to narrow it down as much as you can so you know coming into senior year what applications to really focus on. Okay? I would suggest with that time in the summer writing your personal statement and answering any of those essay questions. Kind of use that free time to get a jump on that. And then try to do something that you're passionate about, whether it's, you know, a job or some other volunteer work or something that you're involved in that you can even use to write about, because colleges really want to see kids that stand out. They want to see that you care about something, that there's something that you're involved with, something that you like, and if you can speak about it, that'll really catch their eye more than just, you know, oh, I'm in XYZ, end of story. They want to hear a little bit more elaboration. Why are you involved with that? Why do you care about it? So try to get involved in things that you're passionate about. Senior year, go ahead and retake the SAT or ACT if you think you want to try to improve your score. I can't stress enough to get applications in as early as possible. You really don't want to be waiting till that last minute, till the deadline. So really try to get a jump on applications. And again, that's something, it's overwhelming, but a lot of the time just getting organized can help a lot. So that's what your counselors are here for. And we can absolutely help with that. Like I talked about earlier, deciding if you're applying early action or early decision. Early decision is if, you know, once I get into this school, I know I'm going there no matter what. It's a binding contractual agreement. Early action is what I would more so recommend, because that's going to be, you're getting your application in earlier, like that November 1st deadline, and you'll find out sooner if you get in or not, but you're not bound to go there. It leaves you that openness, you can still change your mind. Definitely focus on keeping your grades strong, and FYI, try not to change your schedule senior year, because if a school accepts you based on what your schedule looks like, which we send them your schedule for senior year, if you change it and then, you know, don't tell them, they're going to wonder why. They could potentially take back their offer. So if you're going to change your schedule, you want to make sure that you get that approved with whatever school accepted you before you make that change, okay? I would say make sure to send applications at least 2 weeks prior to the deadline, just so you're not cutting it till the last minute. And making sure senior year is when you're going to be researching all the financial aid stuff, like we talked about before. And all final decisions about school, the deadline is May 1st. So there is some extra time, but I would suggest not waiting till that last minute because that can be a little stressful. So that was a huge amount of information that I just threw out at you guys. Do we have any questions? Either for me, for the other counselors. In a second here, I'm going to bring in the reps from the schools, and they can answer specific questions about their schools or just community colleges in general. Yes? Our school's ACT code is 144505.
And then the same as the SAT code?
Yes, that's just our school's code. Any other questions? Yes. Yes, there's a cost every time, and that is on this sheet, which there are more of in the guidance office. The ACT without writing is $35, and with writing is $50. The one that we have here, you do not have to pay for. No, if the one that we offer here, the first time in April, is no charge. Anyone beyond that, whether it's offered at the school or not, you would have to pay for. You'd have to pay for.
Yes, because that's a national test date. The October test here is a national test date. We're just the school site for it. So that will offer the writing portion if your student wants to take that, and then you do have to pay for that. The only time you don't pay is in the April testing during your junior year.
The deadline for that test in October 27th is October 5th, and that is the late, there will be an additional charge because that's late testing, late payment, so.
I'm sorry.
The registration is closed for that test on October 27th. It is open, however, but on a late fee basis till October 5th.
And how do you register?
You register on the ACT's website, actstudent.org.
ACTstudent.org?
Yep.
And
Typically, when you go in there, if your student took it in their junior year and they're going to sign up to take it again in October, they'll sign in and their information will still be in there from what they filled out here at the school. So you may want to go in and change where you want the ACT score sent. And there could be a few tweaks, but for the most part, that information should already be logged in there for you.
yeah, and I failed to mention, when the student takes the ACT, they're going to ask them where they want their test scores sent. So I would suggest having those sent to the schools that they're interested in. And then beyond that, they can still call ACT and say, hey, please send my scores to these schools. And I believe beyond 4, it's $10 per time. But a lot of schools these days want those test scores directly from ACT. So even though they'll be printed on our transcripts eventually, they will still have to get the scores sent directly from ACT. Okay. Any other questions about the process as a whole? All right. Ms. Bassetti, would you ask the 2 college reps to come in and they can answer any questions as well? Like I said before, this is Erica and Shauna from Waubonsee Community College and Aurora University. So I'll give them the microphone just for a minute to share a little bit about their schools, and then you can ask them questions as well.
Good evening and welcome. I'd like to thank Yorkville High School for inviting Waubonsee. My name is Erica Inniges. I'm one of the admissions advisors at the college. Actually, Yorkville is my school that I come and visit, and if students call and ask, then you're a Yorkville student, I'll speak with you. Once, it is awesome to see all these parents here and students get information about schools. You'll hear from private college and the community college. I know many of you, some of you were at our big college night event yesterday, and some of you might have attended this Waubonsee specific presentation. I'm not going to give that whole presentation. But basically what we do offer is we are an associate, a 2-year school, so most students come and get what are those gen eds done and then transfer to their four-year school. Or if they're looking for more of a career-based program, then they'll do our Associates in Applied Sciences. One of our most popular ones are, for example, the RN program or the Auto Technology program. So those are some of the types of the programs that we do offer. Also, since we are a community college, we do offer many community events. For example, through our community education department, we do offer ACT workshops. So if you go onto our website under Community Ed, you can find out information about the ACT workshops. Let's see, briefly. I know somebody had asked when registration, if their student is a senior now and they're interested in starting in fall of 2013, registration will open May 6th of 2013. So we're asking students to come on and visit us in admissions. We'll start seeing students probably January or so from there on.
All right, good evening. I'm Shauna Armstrong. I'm actually the newest addition to the Aurora staff. So this is my 4th day. But I'm very happy to be here. Thank you again to the Yorkville staff for having Aurora here, and also thank you guys for coming. This is an important time in each of your lives. Like I heard Ms. Mako say, contact us, call us. We are the reason why we do what we do. We are here specifically to help you guys out. There's no such thing as a dumb question. We are here to help you guys out. I know the reason why I ended up attending the college that I did was because my counselor spent a lot of time with me and answered every single question and was patient. So a little bit about Aurora. We are a 4-year private institution located in Aurora, Illinois. We have about 4,400 students, about 2,600 undergraduate students. Our average class size is about 23, and our student-to-teacher ratio is 15:1. One of the things that we are really big on is one-on-one time with your professors. We are a liberal arts-based education, and a lot of students and parents are probably asking, well, what exactly is that? We give you guys a really well-rounded education. We want to make sure that when you walk out those doors and walk across that stage of graduation, that you have a lot of the necessary tools to go into anything, that you're a well-rounded citizen and that you're going to be productive. How many of you would have guessed that I was actually a sport management major in college? Probably not many of you. But because of my education, because I had a liberal arts background, I'm able to do what I do. And I think that's one of the things that was really important to me when I was picking this school. I will be here after, so please let me know if you guys do have any questions. We do have a campus visit day coming up on the 8th, next Monday, so feel free to contact myself. Actually, your counselor is Josh Binder. He cannot be here tonight. I'm actually the out-of-state college rep, so I probably will not be working with any of you guys, but either way, I am here to help. So let us know. We are rolling admission, so we do take applications at any time. However, we do encourage that you do get those applications in as soon as possible. Our application online is free to fill out and to submit. We only need your official transcripts from Yorkville as well as your official ACT scores. And we'll evaluate you guys within a week, 2 weeks. When we're evaluating you for admissions to Aurora, we're also evaluating you for scholarship opportunities. So anyone that does meet our admissions criteria will actually receive a scholarship. So that's a big one as well. So please feel free to let us know if you guys do have any questions.
All right, that concludes our formal presentation. Please feel free to stay and ask questions to your counselor, to one of the admissions reps. I do have a couple extra handouts up here, but like I said, they will be posted on the website. Just come talk to us. We're here to help, okay? Thank you all so much for coming.